The 2008 University of Washington Freshman Convocation will be opened with the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner by Ms. Laura Thornquist, accompanied by the University Wind Ensemble, conducted by Professor Timothy Saltzman of the School of Music. Ms. Thornquist is, like many of you, an incoming freshman this fall. This is her first performance as a UW student. The audience will please rise and is invited to join with us and with Ms. Thornquist in singing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. I'm Ronald Moore, the University Marshal. In my regular job, I'm a professor of philosophy, but as University Marshal, I have the honor and privilege of offering you our first words of official greeting. 4 years from now, I will have the equally pleasing opportunity to give you our last official words when I declare that the 137th commencement ceremonies of the University of Washington are now closed. I now want to introduce to you the man who will preside over our ceremony today, Dr. Mark Emmert, who was a freshman like you at this school just a few years ago, and now is the president of the University of Washington.
A few years ago. Good morning. Oh, no. If you're going to cheer at football games, we have to do much, much better than this. Good morning. There we go. That was good for a touchdown. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you to the University of Washington. This convocation is a very important symbol of all that goes on here at the UW. It's a time for all of you who have come from across the city, across the state, across the nation, and indeed from around the entire planet to come together to begin what will be one of the most exciting and important periods of your lifetime. This is a period that you're beginning now. It will be utterly transformative of who you are, what you do, how you see yourself in the world, how you view that world, and most importantly, how you see your ability to impact the world around you. As Professor Moore just said a moment ago, I too came here as a young student from Fife, Washington. And when I was sitting here as a young student, I didn't plan on becoming president of the University of Washington. I didn't know that one of my classmates would win the Nobel Prize. I didn't know that a couple of my classmates would win Pulitzer Prizes, or they'd go on to become world-class researchers, fabulous teachers, wonderful engineers who helped transform the Boeing company, or all the myriad things that my classmates did because they made the decision to come to the University of Washington and have their lives transformed by that experience. That's what your time here is entirely about. you will be a very different person from the one who is sitting here right now when you walk across the stage in 4 or 5 years. Parents, we promise not 6 or 7, 4 or 5 years. And now I'd like to introduce your student body president, a social welfare major who has just entered his senior year as the new president of the Associated Students of the University of Washington. Please welcome Mr. Antimo Bennett. Antimo?
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, come on. Good morning. That's what I'm talking about. Good morning, parents, family, friends of the University of Washington. I am truly honored to be able to welcome our freshmen today that are celebrating a great achievement and milestone, the beginning of their lives as college students. I'd like to also welcome those students who, like I, came to this great institution via the transfer. Whether you transferred or are coming straight from high school, today marks a special day. During this historic moment in history, it is easy to focus on things going on around us nationally and abroad. And as citizens, that is our civic responsibility to be concerned and engaged. But let us not lose sight on the history that is being made here today by having one of the largest and greatest freshman classes ever to step foot on the campus of University of Washington. From this day forward, when anyone speaks of greatness, you will be included in that conversation because you are here on this campus. You may have all heard that your time in college is going to be the best time of your lives. And that is true, especially if you take advantage of everything that it has to offer you. Many emotions may be welling up inside of you, and you may be asking yourself, exactly what am I going to do of significance on a campus so large when I feel so small? The answer to that question is simple: become fully engaged as a student. How exactly do I go about doing that? I'm so glad you asked me that. I cannot tell you exactly what your student experience will be because for each one of you it will be different. What I can tell you is that the more you actively pursue opportunities to become involved, it will only benefit you and enhance the learning of yourself and those around you. Trust me when I say there is something here for everyone. It is just a matter of finding your niche, whether it is in politics, advocacy, or you're just looking for a place to find like-minded students to socialize with. Get involved. Whatever you do, do not just go to class and then go home, but please go to class. The Office of Minority Affairs and Diversity celebrated its 40-year anniversary this past May. Students back in 1968 came together and challenged the university to establish a more accessible and diverse institution. Had these students merely existed on campus, many of us, including myself, would not be here today. When that day comes, as it finally will for me this June, when each of you will walk across that stage to receive your degree, whether it be 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years from now, you will do so having established lifelong friendships and created lasting memories. Whatever contribution you make, experience, know that individually and collectively, you made this university a better institution by gracing it with your presence. I wish you the best of luck as you embark on your journey of a lifetime. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Antimo. One of the things that we would like to do today is to introduce you, the freshman class and incoming students, to our faculty and our deans and the university community, and to tell them a little bit about you. There's probably no one who knows more about you, the incoming class, than our Dean of Undergraduate Affairs, Dr. Edward Taylor. Dean Taylor is a graduate of Gonzaga University, but he redeemed himself and came to the UW for his PhD. It took us a year to undo all those lessons, but from 1994 on, he's been a professor in the College of Education. Please welcome Dean Edward Taylor. Ed?
You will experience so many powerful moments during your time here. and this is one of them. This is a moment to meet, to celebrate greatness. It's a moment for you, mothers and fathers and loved ones, to hold on one final time, make a close grip, to squeeze, whisper something profound, and then let go. And we will begin the work of building community here, guided by a couple of simple questions. Who are you, and where do you come from? These are questions I want you to ask each other over and over and over again in the coming days and weeks. Who are you? Your 3.7 grade point averages. You are high SATs. You are valedictorians. You are salutatorians. You are outstanding students. You are soccer players. You are violinists. You're good, but you don't do them both at the same time. You can dance, and oh, you can sing, Laura. As you meet one another, and as you talk to one another, you will invariably meet somebody from Inglemoor High School. There are about 95 of you coming from Inglemoor. It's okay to give a little applause, Inglemoor folks. There are a whole lot of students here from Newport High School, a whole lot of students here from Redmond and Bellevue. You didn't come far. As you meet each other, you'll invariably meet somebody from Shorecrest. Please note the difference between Shorecrest and Shorewood. They would appreciate it. I made that mistake. Oh, you come from Bainbridge Island and Vashon Island, Lewis and Clark in Spokane. You come from Silverdale, Everett, Oak Harbor. Some of you, 15, came from east of the mountains, from Pullman High School to the University of Washington. Yes, yes, yes. You were guided by the light, yep. Punahou High School in Honolulu, Hawaii, you are here. Poway, California, Colfax, Omaha, Nebraska. Talk to the students from New Orleans. They have a powerful story to tell. There is one student I'm so proud of from Zilla High School. Welcome him in. One student from Grandview, one from Shelton, one from Mabton. There are students from about 3.5 miles away from here, Garfield Bulldogs. Going to enter a class, a lab, share some space in Odegaard, a Suzzalo Library. And you will join your rivals, the Franklin Quakers. You are brothers and sisters now. Seattle Prep and Lakeside, you're together now. As you talk to one another, you'll hear from students who are from Seattle Central Community College and Skagit Valley. Stories to tell about how they got here. Listen carefully as you talk to one another. From Shoreline Community College, we welcome you here also. There are some of you who are following a line. Your grandmother, your grandfather, your mothers and fathers went to the University of Washington, and now you are here, and it's your time. Some of you will be the first in your family to actually step foot on a college campus. We welcome all of you together. As you meet one another, you will find you're from the Yakima Valley, you're from the San Fernando Valley, you're from Singapore, you're from India, you're from Bolivia, you're from Australia. One of the things that you'll find as you meet each other is that there is no one way of being a University of Washington Husky. There is simply no one way of doing it. But I assure you of this much. There's something common that you will share in the end. When you leave here, you will be different than when you entered. And if we do this right, and we will, you will forever be University of Washington Huskies. Incoming class of 2008, would you please stand? Members of the University of Washington Community Regents, will we please welcome in the class of 2008. Welcome all of you.
Please be seated. Thank you, Ed. And now I'd like to introduce another group to you, and that is the individuals who will be your faculty members and your mentors for the next 4 or so years. They are experts in nearly every imaginable field. and probably a few fields you haven't even imagined. And every day they're engaged in the study and research that is quite literally changing the world, and they pass it on to you. The person who knows our faculty best at the university is our provost, Dr. Phyllis Wise. As the provost, Dr. Wise is the university's chief academic officer and the person who is most directly responsible for the academic programs and working with the deans and the professors who will shape your academic experience. Dr. Wise, as well as being a provost, is a professor of physiology and biophysics and obstetrics and gynecology in the School of Medicine. Please join me in welcoming our provost, Dr. Phyllis Wise. Phyllis?
On behalf of the faculty, I want to join the rest of the voices on this stage to welcome you, the incoming class of 2008. I'd like to introduce to you some of our faculty and to tell you that all of us are here to ensure that your years here at the University of Washington are successful, memorable, transformative, and utterly amazing. Discovery is at the heart of everything that we do. The sheer amount of cutting-edge scholarship and discovery that our faculty do, in part thanks to the work that you will be doing with them while you are here at the university, is really amazing. About a quarter of our students partake of research in the laboratories of our faculty, some of you even before you became freshmen, and certainly many of you and in your freshman year. I know that these professors, some of whom are sitting behind me, are waiting to meet you, waiting to work with you, waiting to teach to you, waiting to learn from you in ways that only a preeminent research university can afford to do. One of the most exciting things that has happened over the last year is the establishment of the College of the Environment, thanks to a unanimous vote of the Board of Regents. Some of you will be doing your studies in that college and will graduate. You may be some of the inaugural graduates from that college. Of course, many of our pioneering work and have been for many, many years. When we had to choose just a few of those, it was really painful, but let me tell you just a little bit about a few. Dr. John Delaney, a faculty member in the College of Ocean and Fisheries Sciences, has been working on developing methods to monitor the environment of the oceans in ways that we have never been able to before. He has worked on putting sensors at the bottom of the ocean floor along the coast of Washington and Oregon so that we can one day be able to monitor minute by minute changes in the populations, in the chemistry, and also in many other aspects of our oceans. His work will be truly transformative, and he really wants to share that with students who would like to work with him. Another one of our outstanding professors is Patricia Kuhl and her colleagues, who have been studying early childhood learning. Through their work, we are beginning to understand that until 1 year of age, children actually can learn all sorts of languages and differentiate those languages from each other. When you get older, it becomes more difficult to learn different languages because of the kinds of brain development that occur as children get older. And it is her work and the work of her colleagues that are establishing the parameters that allow children to learn in some ways when they are very young and in different ways when they are even older. There are many other programs that I'd like to tell you about, but I know you're not here to listen to me, so let me just tell you about a couple of other. Dr. Angelina Godoy is a professor in the Jackson School, and she has led a group of students to Guatemala, where they interacted with leading groups of human rights experts in that country and examined the plight of factory workers making apparel for U.S. markets. Her work has led to changes in the way we do business with them, and you, the students, will be able to partake of that kind of work with her. On a lighter note, There are scores of UW students who will be studying for a quarter or longer at the Rome Center, a magnificent 17th century palazzo in the Campo del Fiore in Rome, in the center part of Rome. You'll be able to take part in this kind of global learning as well as at hundreds of other sites around the world. These are opportunities for you, our new undergraduates, and I think that there will be many, many more that I hope you will take time to discover and make that enrich your classroom learning. You probably know about the Mary Gates Endowment for Scholars, and that is really creating ways for you to be able to partake in the learning experience here. The professors and leading administrators who have greeted you today as you walked in and who are waiting to greet you even more are among the elements that allow your learning experience here to be truly uniquely amazing. We are looking forward to all of you, and as we learned of the incoming class, as we accepted you month by month, we all became more and more excited because you are certainly the most diverse class that we have ever welcomed to the University of Washington. Your life experiences, your cultural experiences, your race and ethnicity, your economic backgrounds will add to the richness of all of our students. So we really, really welcome you here, and I know that you'll be working hard to be able to be successful here at the University of Washington. On behalf of the faculty, I welcome you today.
Thank you, Phyllis. One of the guiding principles of the university is that by helping shape your lives, the lives of our students, and instilling in all of you a sense of global responsibility and making you citizens of the world, that in turn has a positive impact on our communities, on our nation, and on our world. Last April, we conferred an honorary degree on the Dalai Lama right here on this stage, and addressed our students and students from around the state on the importance of being a compassionate citizen of the world. Today, we are going to confer honorary degrees on two more great citizens of the world whose humanitarian efforts have had a profound impact on all around us, on bettering the lives of millions across the planet. William H. Gates Sr., an alumnus of this university, having earned his bachelor's and law degrees here, and his son, William H. Gates III, was a frequent visitor to campus before even attending college and built his first microprocessor system here. No family has contributed more profoundly to the success of our university than the Gates family. You may have already heard of the Mary Gates Endowment, and many of you have probably, no doubt, been in Mary Gates Hall. Mary Gates, Bill Sr.'s wife and Bill III's mother, was a university regent for 18 years. Her commitment to providing students with a world-class undergraduate experience guided this university and will continue to have an impact on the lives of our students for far into the future. Bill Gates Sr. has been a university regent since 1997, and words really cannot express how much leadership and dedication and blood and sweat and tears have gone into this institution through Bill's commitment and dedication. We also have enjoyed a wonderful relationship with his son, Bill. Well, in the early years, it was endurance, but whose unparalleled generosity has had an indelible impact on the quality of the educational experience that you will get to enjoy. We are thrilled and extraordinarily honored to have both Mr. Gateses here and to honor them. Please join me in welcoming first Bill Gates Sr. Bill, would you please come forward? Like all university degrees, honorary degrees are recommended by the university faculty and conferred by the Board of Regents, but I will point out that Mr. Gates abstained from the vote. The honorary degree citation for Mr. Gates will be read by Regent Christy Blake, who just happens to be Bill's daughter. Christy?
William H. Gates, rooted in the Northwest and in a generation now revered for its spirit of service and community, you have deep roots on this campus as well. Your years as a University of Washington student, we like to think, contributed in some small way to the generous, exemplary, and now globally influential life that you have led. You came to the university from Bremerton High School, went off for 3 years of service in the U.S. Army during World War II, and then returned here for bachelor's and law degrees. You also found here a wife, Mary Maxwell, whose talents and ideals matched your own. Among the 3 children you reared together was a prodigiously gifted son who appropriated your name, turned the world upside down, and then came to you for help in making his fortune a force for good in the world. He turned to you not just because you volunteered, not just because you were his father, but because he knew that you had the head, the heart, and the stature for this important work. Your distinguished legal career spanned more than 4 decades, most of it at Preston Gates, and you helped build into one of Seattle's most admired and most publicly spirited law firms. You held positions of leadership in the local, state, and national bar associations, and you chaired a succession of legal and public policy commissions, many concerned with making law and government more perfect instruments of justice. Beyond the law, you have been a trustee, officer, and volunteer for more than 24 Northwest and national organizations, from the Municipal League to Planned Parenthood to the Seattle Repertory Theater to United Way to the Technology Alliance, which you founded, to the University of Washington. In all of these settings, 2 qualities were constant: the no-nonsense force of your intellect and the deep kindness of your drive to make life better and fairer. So when the time came, you took your son's cardboard box of charitable appeals and began to build the structure, goals, and philosophy of what is now the world's largest and most breathtakingly ambitious charitable foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, of which you have been co-chair for 15 years. Others helped shape the foundation, but it is deeply imbued with your vision and priorities: education, at-risk families in the Northwest, public libraries, the most devastating illnesses in the poorest parts of the world. To these challenges, the Gates Foundation brings a fresh and searching intelligence, as well as money and compassion. Anyone who knows your life can see your mark on the foundation. For helping to create this great gift to the 21st century, for decades of civic engagement and leadership, and for living out your faith that thoughtful people can join forces to improve our common life, the University of Washington is proud to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
things of this kind, I can't help commenting that one of the major ingredients is just to have lasted a long time. So thank you very much, President Emmert and daughter Christy. That was wonderful. For more than a century, this university declined bestowing honorary degrees. That changed in 2002, and since then a small number of degrees have gone to an impressive list of people, including the Dalai Lama, a former Secretary of State, a two-time head of the Environmental Protection Agency, and to Bishop Desmond Tutu. So when they said that they wanted to give me one of these degrees, I could see very clearly that their standards were already starting to slip. Even this year, here we are giving a degree to the founder of a really important software company and the biggest philanthropy in the world, and to me. So though I question whether I belong, I'm certainly humbled and delighted with the honor. It's especially gratifying to share it with my son, and this is a proud day for my whole family. I've always been prouder of them than I can say. For more than 6 decades, this university has been a central part of my life. I care a lot about the University of Washington. I'm from over in Bremerton. When I was deciding where to go to college, I gave some thought to leaving the state. Then I picked the University of Washington. After my freshman year, I went into the Army for World War II, and when I came back, again, I thought about another institution, but I stayed. Then came law school. I considered going to an institution in California, then I reconsidered. In the end, UW was always where I wanted to be. In the 60 years that follows, I've had countless opportunities to be glad about the choice I made 3 times in a row. I met my wife, the mother of my children, here when I was in law school and she was getting her teaching certificate. We met some of our closest friends here, and they have been friends for a lifetime. Those friendships still nourish me today. I learned a lot about citizenship here. The first real community service I ever did was membership on the board of the University of Washington YMCA. And as the years went on, my wife and I remained in the fold. We served on visiting committees. We helped organize alumni events. She served on the Board of Regents for 18 years. Now I serve on the Board of Regents. In the meantime, our daughter Christy decided to attend the University of Washington, and she's become a member of the Board of Regents as well. 4 years ago, I had the honor of being asked to chair the Capital Campaign for the University of Washington, which has just now ended. I'm happy to say we exceeded our goal, but whenever somebody tells me that I've done a good job, I tell them that my job was easy. It was easy because I had such a great product to sell. I can talk about the huge number of research grants we have. I can talk about our strong ranking in various surveys. All the quantitative data are extremely impressive. I can talk about qualitative measures as well. Every time I come to the campus, and I'm here a lot, I'm struck by some extraordinary new thing. A groundbreaking new study about foster care for adolescents. A high school located on the campus that gives gifted students the chance to do college work. A combination MD, PhD program that trains young scholars how to do basic medical research. The educational opportunities offered here are of the highest quality and of truly staggering quantity. I'm envious of you freshmen because you get to spend 4 years taking advantage of all those wonderful opportunities. From my personal point of view, the University of Washington has been an easy sell because it's been the stuff of my life. It's the place where I was educated, where I built my family, and the medium through which I tried to serve the community. So I'm very excited to be receiving this degree. I'm grateful that the university thinks my service is deserving of some recognition. I've tried to be a good member of the UW community, and I have always received more than I gave. My life has been the richer for every minute and every dollar I give on the University of Washington's behalf. So to the freshman class, I am sure the same will be true in describing your experience ahead. God bless you. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Bill. Would Bill Gates III please come forward? The citation for Mr. Gates will be read by Chair of the Board of Regents, Craig Cole. Craig and Bill? Go. Stand over there.
William H. Gates III, you have changed the world twice by making information technology accessible to people everywhere on Earth and providing medical care, education, and economic opportunity where it is desperately needed. Your vision has opened expansive vistas of knowledge and information in homes and businesses worldwide. And from this wellspring, through your immense generosity of resources and spirit, you have brought health and hope to those struggling to survive. You have revolutionized how and how fast we communicate, thereby altering fundamentally how we think and learn. Science today advances at unprecedented speeds, and you have played an indispensable role in that exponential shift. For envisioning the future of personal computing and developing the software to realize that future, you were named a Fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences in 1992, received the National Medal of Technology in that same year, and were elected to the National Academy of Engineering in 1996. While your successes grew in a highly complex and competitive environment, you never lost sight of the importance of every individual, no matter where or in what circumstances they lived. Your goal has been to enrich the lives of others, to empower them so they might prosper, as Microsoft did. A vision for how its future could transform the world emerged, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was born. Through the foundation, you have brought together private enterprise, government, and philanthropy to battle global disease, poverty, and inequality in ways that are ingenious, uniquely strategic, and extraordinarily successful. Your support of AIDS research, prevention, and treatment has meant great progress towards defeating a worldwide epidemic. Over 100 million children in developing countries have been vaccinated against a variety of deadly diseases thanks to your foundation's support of the Gavi Alliance. I think that's just remarkable. How one person can change the world. In our own region, the Sound Families Initiative, launched with the Gates Foundation funding, is making affordable housing and social services available to the homeless of Puget Sound. And Thrive by 5 is giving young children the early learning opportunities they need to realize their full potential. Your support of public education has spurred academic achievement across our nation. Our own university's Mary Gates Endowment for Students has helped thousands of talented undergraduates blossom as leaders, artists, scholars, and as scientists. Your philanthropy and your influence as a citizen of the world are unmatched in history. Your greatest gift is compassion. Your greatest legacy, an unassailable optimism and a steadfast belief in the power of the human mind and spirit to solve the problems that beset the peoples of our planet. You are proof that the power of imagination can lift the dreams of millions. For your leadership and dedication, for your courage, for your compassion, for helping those in need, and for all you have done to bring dignity and hope to the troubled face of humanity. The University of Washington is proud to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Well, thank you, Chairman Cole and President Emmert, and thank you, Dad. I'm very proud to share this honor with you. My dad says he's crazy about the University of Washington, and I have to agree. For some reason, whenever the university is involved, he loses his senses. For example, he used to try to get me to go to football games. I'd go once a year just to make him happy, and because my mom said I could spend part of the time reading. But it's always been gratifying to be part of my family's University of Washington tradition, and it makes this moment even more special. But I have to admit that over the last few days, I've been getting increasingly anxious about this event. I know that I am not here just to get a degree. I'm also here to give you some advice about the next 4 years. That's the part that's worrying me. I keep asking myself, do they know I'm a college dropout? Do they know I just quit a steady, well-paying job to volunteer for a nonprofit? And do they know that Jerry Seinfeld and I are on the run? I always knew that draft would get me in trouble, and I still say I was framed. I often feel like I was a student at the university. I got a lot of my early experience with computers right here on this campus. First, a group of professors started a company called a time-sharing company. Computers were so expensive that you dialed in and got a small slice of their time. And this company was near the university and had a very advanced computer called the PDP-10. They had a deal that as long as they could find problems in the computer, they didn't have to pay the rent. And so Paul Allen and I and some other students were picked almost like monkeys to come in and bang on this computer and find problems. Well, sure enough, we kept finding problems. In fact, a year later, the company who made the computer said they had to pay the rent no matter what. We were just finding too many of these problems. And so Paul and I had gotten used to having computer time. We were fascinated by what computers could do and how they were improving. And so we commenced to look around the entire campus to find any computers that weren't being used 24 hours a day. We'd sneak into the electrical engineering building. We'd sneak into the medical facilities. And we often would find neat little computers that had a few hours free. One great discovery was that in the physics building, they had a PDP-10 that was busy 20 hours a day analyzing particle interactions. But these 4 hours were wasted. And so I figured out that if I waited till my parents were asleep and snuck out of my house and got up there by 3 a.m., I'd have the computer all to myself. Dad, I know it's true I snuck out without permission, but on the other hand, I only did it so I could learn more. As it turns out, this early immersion in computers was very well timed. Paul Allen and I realized that the combination of the computer on a chip, the very inexpensive microprocessor, together with the magic of software, would create the best tool for learning and communications ever built. And we had the opportunity to build a company around that vision. And in fact, that dream has come true. There have been sweeping changes in all the aspects of how we live. The rate of scientific discovery, including computer technology, is the defining advance of our age. I believe modern science and technology are powerful enough to meet the defining challenge of our age, the appalling disparities of health, wealth, and opportunity that condemn so many people to lives of despair. Well, where is this great scientific work taking place? Well, in fact, it's on world-class university campuses in partnerships with leading companies. And here at the University of Washington, you have great partnerships with small companies, with nonprofits, and great partnerships with Microsoft in software, working on things like robotics and vision and intelligence. Great partnerships with the Gates Foundation, working on how you measure health outcomes and how to come up with drugs for these new diseases. Today, we're celebrating the limitless promise of your future. But of course, we have to acknowledge that millions of people at your age do not have a day like this. They don't have something to celebrate because their high school was not good enough. Or millions more never made it to high school because the poor countries they live in provide conditions of poverty and disease that we can't even imagine. Now, I'm very optimistic that these problems have solutions. Now, there are cynics who claim that these won't be solved. They say that inequity has always been with us and that will be with us forever. They say that even with great technology, people don't care enough to solve these problems. But I disagree. I believe we do care, and when we see the problem and see a path forward, we take it. I'm sure you remember the tsunami that killed over 300,000 people the day after Christmas in 2004. Millions of people donated money to that, but they didn't know how to do more. They didn't know how to help with early warning systems. They didn't know how to help the aid organizations with their various skills. I believe that if people had known those things, they would have done more. And so I believe the barrier to change is not the lack of caring, but rather this complexity. To turn our caring into action, we need to understand the problem clearly, see a possible solution, and then make sure we're having an impact. But complexity does stand in the way of all 3 steps. These problems of inequity are very complex. For example, how do we get rid of a disease like malaria? Or how do we improve the U.S. education system so that everyone graduates with a strong education? The key to meeting the challenge of inequity is unlocking our vast stores of caring by cutting through complexity. The good news is that your generation has new tools, both for raising awareness and cutting through this complexity. Technology is at the center of this. Practically every day, there are new technologies that make the impossible possible. That PDP-10 that I snuck out to use was bigger than a car, and yet it cost 1 million times more than the computers you use today. It had 1 million times less power and less storage. And so that's just an example of the platform of today. So to you incoming freshmen, you're living at a phenomenal time. But there is more. You've come to a phenomenal place. At the University of Washington, you can learn how to solve these problems and make the most of your caring. There are 3 reasons for this. First, the resources available to you. Second, the peers you'll meet here. And third, the precious time you'll be given here. First, the resources. In your lives up to this point, you probably never had access to a deconvolution microscope or a mass spectrometer. Well, now you do. These aren't just neat machines. These are the tools that will cut through the complexity and solve these problems. For example, we need to understand proteins better. Proteins, millions of them, are the machines that run the human body. But we don't understand how they're structured. They fold into an almost infinite variety of shapes that, for the most part, still eludes researchers. That means we can't answer key questions. Why do certain mutations cause disease? Why does drug A work whereas drug B doesn't work? A lot of guesswork that researchers do now depends on our impartial knowledge of protein folding. But there's a professor here in your biochemistry department, David Baker, who's tackling this problem. Working with the computer science department, he's using hundreds of thousands of regular home computers to work through the millions of calculations. While you've been here, the machines on this campus and some all over the world are working away, even though it looks like they have a screensaver up, they're actually solving this protein folding problem. And so there's progress being made. Professor Baker and his computer science colleagues have also developed a piece of software that lets you actively help to discover how proteins fold. It's sort of like playing Tetris, except when you win, you also help lead the way towards an entirely new frontier of scientific understanding. I invite you to try out Foldit, which is at HTTP Foldit. And if you're interested, I invite you to take biochemistry classes to learn more about Professor Baker's work and other potential breakthroughs. Another reason this university will help you solve problems is the friends you will make here. There are 5,000 students entering the University of Washington with you, and they are all as full of excitement as you are. They're also optimistic about the future. And this combination of talent can have a multiplier effect. Together you can do exponentially more than you can do alone. Let me give an example. Now, there's a class called Contemporary Development Issues in Latin America. And in this class, you'll find out that people living in the Andes have serious respiratory problems because they breathe dangerous fumes from the stoves they use for cooking. And many suffer from Chagas disease, a chronic condition that saps their strength over the course of years. The question is, what can be done? Well, classmates of yours here at the university are helping to cut through this challenge. There's a student group here called Engineers Without Borders. Every year, they go to Bolivia, to Llanillo village, and live side by side with the villagers so they can understand what they need. And then they build solutions. They developed a cleaner burning stove and helped the villagers install them in their homes so they could breathe easier. They worked with villagers to replace the thatched roofs with tin, since the old roofs were the breeding grounds for the bugs that transmit Chagas disease. This group raises their own money. They use equipment that you could buy at a hardware store, but they prove that when you multiply the compassion and energy of dozens of bright students, the results are staggering. Finally, the third reason that being here at this university can help you make a contribution to these problems is that you have time to learn about the problems and their solutions. You have the next 4 years to devote to careful study, deep reflection. From my perspective, that is an exceedingly rare opportunity. So in line with the promise of our time and of this place, I want to exhort each of you to spend your time learning about the complex problems the world faces. You're going to take more than 30 courses while you're here. Make them count. Find the issue that grabs your attention: carbon taxation, disease surveillance, educational excellence, foreign aid effectiveness, and learn it. learn it from every angle, and figure out how to cut through the complexity that perpetuates inequity despite all our caring. If you want to understand inequities right here in Seattle, you can join the Community Literacy Program. It gives you an opportunity to work closely with a student in public school while researching educational reform in a classroom setting. If you want to discover hundreds of ways you can engage with the wider world, you can drop by the international programs and exchange offices in Smitch Hall. This university sponsors study programs abroad in Cameroon, Botswana, Ghana, China, India, and Mongolia, to name just a few. Challenge yourself to learn more about these places by going there. You have the caring you need, and now you have the means to deploy your caring, to use it to help people a world away who have nothing in common with you but their humanity. And when you do, I assure you it will be one of the great experiences of your lives. Good luck.
What a wonderful way to begin the academic year. On behalf of the university, I'd like to thank both of our honored guests and all of you who have made this day so special. The 2008 welcoming convocation of the University of Washington is now closed.